tale unfolds with a number of guests, 7 of them to be precise, arriving by horse-drawn carriages to a stately manor far below the ruins of Hallomas Abbey. A desolate place perched atop a high bluff overlooking, to one side, the aging manor below, and, to the other side, a glimmering sea of night.
Part 1. The Arrival.
When asked why this date was so important, and why the guests had to arrive at just such a time, the driver replies,
"Only the tides and the blackbirds know of what goes on out here at the bluff."
And then he fulfills his harbinger duty by adding,
"But what I do know is that if you keep going down this road, then there won't be any coming back. Not for one of you. And if you were smart, you'd do well to stay in the carriage and then ride back with me. But you ain't smart, and you won't. And I'm wasting my breath."
And with that, in due course, the guests arrive at the manor below Hallomas Abbey.
Whoa. Well, there you have, up there, your Hallomas Abbey, looking down in judgment from heaven's own high throne to all of us below. Now exit, y'all, and face your fates.
Part 2. The Manor Itself. The ruins of Hallomas Abbey leer down upon the guests as they cautiously exit, due to the skittish movements of the horses shaking the carriages a bit in the dim light of the torches that dot the road and yard of the manor. A rolling fog making it difficult to see more than a meter or so in front of one's face. Amongst the grumbling voices of the guests, one can be heard saying, "Really, it truly is a most dreadful thing to have to answer a summons to such a place as this, and at such a time of day." The voice is feminine and belongs to Lady Farina Theris, but we will learn more of her soon enough. First, while our guests file into the manor, let us acquaint ourselves with this old place. The manor itself is situated on a patch of land just below the ruins of the abbey above. The abbey looms over the manor like a ghostly presence, its crumbling walls and turrets silhouetted against the stormy sky. A gravel path leads up to the manor's front entrance, flanked by overgrown hedges and gnarled trees whose shadows dance in the torchlight. It seems to twist and turn in the wind. The manor itself is a sprawling, Gothic structure with towering stone walls and arched windows that seem to glow with an eerie, flickering light. As the last of the guests makes their way into the manor, the sound of rain can be heard as it beats relentlessly against the manor's slate roof, while flashes of lightning illuminate the surrounding countryside and the abbey ruins above. The air is thick with the scent of damp earth and old stone, and the wind howls like a pack of vengeful ghosts. It is indeed a setting fit for a mystery tale, full of hidden secrets and eerie portents. Part 3. Welcome to dinner. A servant, a rather plain-looking girl of no discernible age, warmly welcomes the guests and assures them that their host, Lord Reginald, was regrettably called away to attend to some urgent business, but that he would be along shortly. Until his arrival, the guests should enjoy a feast set out in their honor. And so it is that the company makes their way to the dining room, where they sit, eat, and drink their fill as they gossip on well enough to match their appetites. Part 4. The makeup of the guests. Let us now go over the roster of this company, beginning with a brief mention of our host, and then moving on to gain some inkling of each guest as they eat, drink, smoke, and otherwise generally make merry. First and foremost, we must mention the empty seat at the head of the table, reserved for our host, Lord Reginald, the eccentric owner of the manor who, according to dinner conversation, has a reputation for being reclusive and mysterious. He is the one who invited the guests to the manor. They refer to him as a dignified but aging soul. To that chair's right, we have Lady Farina Theris, a wealthy socialite who enjoys parties and the company of powerful men. During dinner, she is revealed to have a sharp wit and a tongue to match. Next to Lady Farina sits Sir Ferris, a retired military officer with a gruff exterior, but a heart of gold, and apparently what's left of a liver. The man does enjoy his drink. His speech reveals his loyalty to Lord Reginald, whom he has served with in the past. To Sir Ferris's right, we find Miss Miranda, a young woman of modest means who is grateful to have been invited to such a prestigious affair. She is quiet and observant, but the keen eye observing how she handles cutlery may discern hidden talents or knowledge. Continuing, we come to the end of the table and the large food cart that occupies that spot, the servant girl attending to it. Next to the cart, we find Mr. Justin, a businessman with a sharp mind and a sense of entitlement. His table manners reveal that he is quick to make deals and take advantage of situations, but these same vices could make him vulnerable to manipulation. Mr. Justin spends most of the dinner speaking with anyone willing to feed his narcissism. Sitting across from Sir Ferris is Lady Serafina, a wealthy heiress whose speech when talking to others is like her food, direct and unsugar-coated. This powerful confidence is equaled apparently only by the powerful connections and alliances she has built up across the land. One would find her fiery, coquettish, and flirtatious, but with some body language that hints at hidden somethings simmering just beneath that surface charm. Finally, completing the table sits Dr. Silas, an old-fashioned medical practitioner who handles utensils, whether they be medical or culinary, with a sure and steady hand. If his bedside manner matches his table manners, then we could assume it to be gruff and harsh, though sprinkled with cynicism. The alacrity with which he dodges any personal query is indicative of a man full of secrets, who may know a bit more about the strange goings-on regarding this gathering than he may let on. So there. Now that you've met them, who do you trust? Who do you suspect? Who do you root for? Who do you fear? Ah, but time will surely tell us, eh, dear friend?
Part 5. The Host and a Drawing Room.
Lord Reginald does arrive at last, just as dinner is finishing. After some brief pleasantries, he ushers the guests to a drawing room, boasting a roaring fireplace with marble mantelpiece, decorated with antique clocks, candlesticks, and other artwork. One portrait of Lord Reginald himself takes center place above the mantel. The host doesn't need to say a word. The room itself speaks volumes of the man. There is, for example, the grand piano, with polished wood finish and ornate carvings, along with other musical instruments such as a harp, a violin, and other stringed instruments, all occupying their own niche in the room. The guests, for their part, sit or otherwise recline on elaborately upholstered sofas and armchairs covered in rich fabrics such as silk, velvet, or intricately knitted handicrafts. Under their feet, they can feel high-quality rugs and carpeting from many cultures, and with their eyes behold intricate designs and colors woven into the fabrics, while above their heads hang ornate chandeliers made of crystal or cut glass that attract and reflect light from the flames of their fireplace. Along the walls hang original artwork, such as oil paintings, pastels, and watercolors, depicting landscapes and portraits of fantastical places and people. Completing the room and confirming the host's intellectual curiosity is a library with maps of lands familiar to few and ornately bound books read by fewer still. In short, the drawing room is a testament to Lord Reginald's desire for knowledge and culture both near and far. Part 6. The Curious Item. As proof of Lord Reginald's lifelong accomplishments, the host withdraws from a drawer a plain box with a simple latch. He places the box on a table in the center of the room and, opening the lid, reaches in and retrieves a curious item. Holding it aloft for all to see, the flames from the fireplace reflect like starshine off a crystal amulet. A periapt, according to the host, from a people long since forgotten to history. Lord Reginald claims this artifact can be used for communication, the wearer's mind, and with the otherworldly beings that are the puppeteers of this world. He claims the periapt has been passed down through his family for generations, and that the wearer of the amulet would also have good fortune and could even travel to other realms of existence. Seraphina rises and interrupts Lord Reginald, saying in a brave voice, "Do put that thing away, if it is truly as you claim it to be." Seraphina is even seen gesturing at him threateningly, waving the man off and pushing the empty box into his chest. All in all, making a very dramatic scene, which ultimately and awkwardly ends our gathering.
Part 7. Retiring for the evening.
The guests settle into their rooms on the second floor of the manor, each left to their own devices as they unwind from all of the excitement and drama earlier in the evening. Then, along around midnight, In certain rooms there can be heard strange noises, and even sights of mysterious figures lurking in the shadows. A sudden scream from the hallway brings all the guests from their rooms. There they discover the source of the shrill noise, the young servant girl. It should be noted that Lady Serafina and Dr. Silas enter the hallway last, and they enter the hallway together from the same room. "Lord Reginald is missing," cries the servant girl, "and so is the periapt." Part 8. We have a mystery. "Lord Reginald missing?" Sir Ferris asks, while fidgeting with a pipe in his mouth. "The what's going missing?" Dr. Silas asks, adjusting his robe. Mr. Justin approaches the servant girl. "The periapt's gone missing too, has it?" She responds, "Lord Reginald cannot be found in his room, so I began looking all through the manor, and then I went to the drawing room and found... The drawing room?" asks Lady Serafina. "Found what?" "Come, see for yourselves," the young girl says weakly. The guests follow the servant and chat amongst themselves, soon enough confirming with each other that there indeed had been strange noises and shadowy figures that some have been hearing and seeing, with Lady Farina coming to the conclusion that the manor must be haunted. Sir Ferris is of a slightly different opinion, claiming that the things they are seeing are simply beings slipping through what he calls the veil, the bond between the world of the living and the land of the dead, according to him, is weakest at this time of year. Lady Farina wonders if these spirits might be of previous owners, perhaps murdered in a brutal act of revenge. Dr. Silas ends the discussion by assuring them all that these things are just figments of the mind, nothing more. The guests soon arrive at the drawing room and find that the study drawers are wide open, and that the box, that plain box with the simple latch that they had seen earlier, it lies on the floor, open and empty. "See, someone's stolen the necklace," the girl says, indicating the empty box. "And over there, look," she says, gesturing toward the map cases, which have been opened as well, with one map in particular still sprawled out on the floor, appearing to be a blueprint of the manor itself. "Perhaps we are not too late," Sir Ferris says as he quickly darts about the room, looking for clues. "There must be something here to help us find Lord Reginald." "And the amulet," says Lady Serafina. Lady Farina claims, "And I was promised a murder mystery, not a theft. We were summoned here for a murder, so where's the body?" Lady Serafina replies, "What a thing to wish for, I mean, really." Farina looks about the room at all the guests as she gives her rebuttal. "I tell you, we are a part of this game. This is all just arranged by those who brought us here together tonight. It's all connected. The ghost noises, the shadowy figures, the periapt, even her," she says, pointing an accusing finger at the servant girl. "Me?" asks the girl, and then lets out an incredulous gasp as Farina moves toward her. Dr. Silas intervenes and keeps Farina at bay. "All right now, we're all getting worked up here, don't you think?" Sir Ferris chimes in as well from where he stands looking at the map on the floor. "Yes, we all have to stand together or surely, divided we will fall." "All of it," Farina says, returning to her previous spot in the room. "It's all connected." "You may be right," Mr. Justin says, placing a calming hand on Farina's shoulder. "And I am sure, for better or worse, its purpose must be revealed. For now," he adds, looking at Sir Ferris as the man pores over the map, "at least we have a mystery." Part 9. We have a clue. The missing amulet. That's our mystery, Miss Miranda says in a quiet voice as she looks around the room at the others. Lady Seraphina is quick to speak next. "Whosoever finds that amulet, that periapt, must be careful not to touch it," she says, taking a step back so that everyone is within her sight. "We must stay together, solve this together, all of us." "What?" Farina asks. "Even the servant girl?" "We stay together, all of us," Mr. Justin says, leaving Farina and crossing to stand in front of the servant girl. He takes her chin in his hand and lifts her head so that she is looking at him. "All of us," he repeats. Miss Miranda passes between them both, whispering something inaudible to anyone save Mr. Justin and, perhaps, the servant girl. Mr. Justin then backs away from them both, but is smiling. Dr. Silas asks as he begins pacing back and forth in front of the empty periapt box. "We just can't stand around here, can we?" "We won't have to," Sir Ferris answers, looking up from the map. "There's one place we haven't yet searched. The secret passage that runs from this manor through the bluff above us, up there to Hallomas Abbey." Part 10. The Passageway Beyond. Dr. Salas is speaking as the guests make their way through an old wing of the manor. This section is unused, dimly lit, and a cold chill hangs in the air. "We don't all have to go. If any of you want to remain here in the manor, none of the rest of us will think any less of you for it," the good doctor says to the rest, as they stop for a moment and allow Sir Ferris to have another look at the map. Miss Miranda looks as though she is about to say something, but then Lady Farina speaks up. "Don't be foolish, darling," Lady Farina says, pushing her way by the doctor and to the front of the line. "We said we'd stick together, right?" she asks, hooking her arm around Mr. Justin's arm. "So that's exactly what we're going to do." She then nudges Sir Ferris with her other arm and adds, "Right?" "Huh? Oh yes, quite right," Sir Ferris replies, looking up from his map. "Now, as I recall, yes, the entrance to the passage should be right around here. Ah, yes, down these steps." The guests make their way down a short flight of steps and, after some brief looking around, easily enough find the entrance of the secret tunnel, for a panel had already been slid to one side and is now exposing a brick wall with an open passageway beyond. Part 11. Twists and Turns. "You all mind your footing once we're in here. Lots of twists and turns likely up ahead," Sir Ferris warns the others as he leads the way into the tunnel connecting Lord Reginald's manor to Hallomas Abbey. Sir Ferris has a lantern to light the way, and Mr. Justin has another lantern at the rear of the group. Save for Sir Ferris, the others walk 2 by 2, Lady Farina with Miss Miranda, Lady Seraphina with Dr. Salas, and the servant girl walks with Mr. Justin. The guests cautiously walk in silence, though Sir Ferris and Mr. Justin speak from time to time, guiding the others around obstacles that make it difficult to navigate, such as crumbling walls, flooding, and even a few false paths. A notable exception to this silence is Lady Farina, who notes something peculiar at one point. "My dear," she says to Miss Miranda, "maybe it's just a trick of this dim light, but your eyes seem, right now at least, like you got the eyes of a cat." "Is that so?" Miss Miranda asks with a smile. "Why, to me, yours are like a viper's." Lady Farina is left dumbfounded, and nothing more is said of the subject. The guests continue their search, up slight inclines, and then up winding steps, down ancient corridors, and up more inclines, until at last they come to a chamber a little larger than the tunnel, with lit torches in sconces on the wall. To one side they make a macabre discovery. One of the carriage drivers, dead. "Well, this explains the maps in the drawing room. But where's the missing periapt?" Lady Farina asks. "And Reginald?" Lady Serafina asks. Dr. Salas suggests one answer as he inspects the body. "Our host must have pursued this vandal on foot through this passage. This poor fool is dead." Sir Ferris discovers something else. "Another relic, one which was kept for safekeeping in this very chamber, is no longer here." Serafina suggests, "Perhaps there is more than one carriage driver involved in this." Serafina suggests, "Perhaps there is more than one carriage driver involved in this." Sir Ferris raises his lantern to light the way forward and adds, "Lord Reginald must have went on ahead then, in pursuit of the other driver." Dr. Salas joins Sir Ferris at the threshold, leading further into the tunnel and closer to Hallomas Abbey. "I'm sure that whatever mystery is here will be solved once we are through this tunnel," Dr. Salas says, placing a reassuring hand on Sir Ferris's shoulder. With Sir Ferris leading the way, the guests eventually emerge from the tunnel and into a wide open space with rays of wholly radiant light shining down from some unknown source high above. Light brighter than the moonlight it is intermingling with, illuminating inscriptions and carvings on the ancient blocks of stonework that make up the walls, rising around the guests as they finally enter the ruins of Hallomas Abbey. Part 12. Part 12. Ruins and Revelation. These signs involve religious orders from around the world, Mr. Justin says as he walks beside Lady Farina. "Now why would a businessman know of such things?" she asks, but he just smiles in return. "Mr. Justin there speaks the truth," Sir Ferris adds as he looks about the chamber. "Well, what else do these writings say?" Farina asks, looking to Sir Ferris. But it is Miss Miranda who now speaks. "There are secrets here, Farina Ferris, about the history of this place," she says, running her hand along an inscription on the wall near her, "about the people who originally lived here, and the reason the abbey was abandoned." Lady Serafina flanks Lady Farina and says, "This abbey has for ages held a secret society from various religious orders that have been involved in religious ceremonies." Mr. Justin adds, "There was a tragic event in the abbey's history. A great battle was fought here, and a terrible accident caused the abbey to be abandoned, only to be reoccupied when the ceremonies call for it. He walks a few meters to aid Sir Ferris in righting a short marble pillar, which ends up looking more like a podium due to its flat top. "You all seem to know a lot about this place," Farina says, her voice showing cracks of nervousness. Dr. Salas comes to Lady Farina's side and motions for her to step to one side a bit, which she does without thinking. "That's right. Stand just there, won't you? Lady Farina, yes, we know of some things here, but only what we need to know, my dear. What we've been trained to know." "Trained?" Lady Farina asks, looking at the circular mosaic below her feet. "Trained to know what?" A fog enters Lady Farina's mind. The world turns a shade of gray. Her body weakens, and we fade to black. Part 13. Coming full circle. The ruins of the Abbey stand proudly atop the high bluff, overlooking the manor to one side and the vast expanse of the sea to the other. Crumbling stone walls, once adorned with intricate carvings, now provide a hauntingly beautiful backdrop for tonight's ceremony. The night sky is now clear, the rain having purified the land in preparations for what is to come, and the moon casts a pale, milky glow upon the scene. The air is filled with the scent of sea salt and wildflowers, the sound of crashing waves below serving as a soothing accompaniment to the ritual. Even though the location has a sense of mystery and ancient majesty, there's also a peaceful and hopeful ambiance that emanates from the ritual, conveying a sense of harmony and spiritual well-being. One by one, the players take their places in the circle, leaving one rather confused individual in the middle, Lady Farina Theris. Lady Farina is not bound in any way, save for the field of energy keeping her from exiting the circles she is trapped within. "What's the meaning of this?" she demands as she feels about with her hands, trying to penetrate the barrier surrounding her to no avail. "There was no carriage driver, but you already knew that, didn't you, demon?" It is the host's voice. Lord Reginald himself, returned from his absence and holding both the periapt and the other relic aloft for all in attendance to behold. "You see, my dear, I was never missing, merely taking care of your lackey here, and of course finishing preparations for our ceremony." The servant girl is also present. She stands near Lord Reginald, who seems more serious than before, with a look of thirst or hunger in his eyes, like an animal during a hunt, short on mercy. "Lady Farina," Lord Reginald declares, "you are being called here tonight in order for us to make good use of your foul soul. Pride goeth before a fall." Who are you people?" Lady Farina asks. "Mr. Justin is here to make sure things are signed on the dotted line. Sir Ferris, my dear old friend here, is a guardian and a witness. Miss Miranda is to be our judge, for she can truly see into your very service-to-self soul. I am the host of this ceremony, and thus this is my domain. Lady Seraphina is here from a neighboring domain as a participant and observer. Dr. Salas was kind enough to administer what was needed and what was unneeded. Lady Farina Theris, you complained that you were owed a murder mystery. Well, now you have one, and not just your lackey's death, but your own." This was all just to murder me?" Lady Farina asks. "Something this elaborate? For such a simple thing? Oh no, my dear. Nothing as simple as that. No, dear child, the true nature of the ceremony is empowering the Abbey itself from time to time, so that it may continue to fulfill its function, powering the towers that keep dark things at bay. And what better fuel to use than the very essence we fight against? Now cue the chanting, the screaming, Well, I will spare the reader, or viewer, the details of the ceremony itself. Suffice it to say that Lady Farina Theras gets her comeuppance, and the Astrodari, that is, the bearer of the artifacts, uses the devices with skill and precision. A pupil has learned from a teacher that which was taught. Oh, and of course the purpose of this whole thing, in case you missed it. Right, well, it was to transfer energy from a dark soul and channel it for something good. In this case, the good took the form of using that life force to reinforce a barrier on the outskirts of a land of darkness. One pylon of many, keeping the things that dwell within that darkness at bay, safeguarding our realm a bit longer, until another such gathering be deemed necessary. Thus, a wave of energy billows forth from Hallomas Abbey, rippling out to somewhere beyond the sea. Oh, and do take heed, should you ever receive an invitation to a gathering on a certain date and at a certain time, delivered to you in an ornate envelope that smells of sights unseen and hints at treasures untouched. Take heed and stay home instead. Curl up with a good book and a tasty treat. You'll thank me for it.